What's going on, guys? Sickbit here, aka Meek, coming at you with another Draft League Presents. Today, we're going to be going over one of my favorite mons, and I say one of my favorite mons because this is my favorite mon, and it is Celesteela. Okay, in Draft League format, this is my favorite mon. Okay, it's pretty close to Mega Deontay, just because of the the typings that they have, Rock and Fairy, and then Celesteela with Steel and Flying. I really like the Flying type, but really love the Steel type. Obviously, Steel and Fairy I think are the best two typings in the game, but we are talking about Celesteela today. So Celesteela, I think it should be a 20-point mon. I think it is the best. I think it's one of the best. A lot of people say that Dragapult and Coco are probably some of the best. I guess Libero Cinderace is really good too. Mew is really fantastic, one of the best. But I think Celesteela can do what all of these guys do, but just a little bit better in my opinion. A lot of these, yeah, just in my opinion, I think he is the best Pokemon. I definitely think he's better than all these guys. Maybe Mega Mawile or the Gen 8 Tornadus. I could see it, but I think Celesteela is the best in my opinion. Yeah, I've used him a lot. I've won a lot of leagues with him. He is always a good Pokemon to get. For whatever you want to do, whether you want to be a wall, whether you want to be a sweeper, or whether you want to be something that can just get a whole bunch of chip on a whole bunch of things, and definitely just win a 1v1 matchup, it's so freaking good for it. It does so well. It can do so many things. It can beat so many of its checks depending on its sets, and you can do a whole bunch of things with this guy. And we're gonna get into why I think it's the best mon, but I did want to give a shout out to the Battle Company. I think it's hosted by Slick Panther and a couple of other guys, but I know Slick Panther is one that vouches for it a lot. And I'm using their doc today because they're one of the, Celesteela is being banned in a whole bunch of other leagues. So there's that. A bunch of the leagues that I'm joining now, a bunch of them, he is banned just because a couple of things that he gets in Gen 8 that we'll talk about. But before we do, again, number one mon, my opinion. That's I just want to make sure that that's known. I think this is the number one mon. If you have the first pick, I think Celesteela is a great first pick. I think for me, it's one of the only first picks. I do think there's 5 or 6 that are really good mons, but I do think I would pick Celesteela first. So, so we have Celesteela here, the Steel Flying typing. Now you can see a whole bunch of resistances and a couple of immunities, and then 2 weaknesses. 2 of them, okay? Now they are some of the most offensive typings in the game, both being electric and fire, but there's not a lot of strong fire types that are in Draft League. In my opinion, there's only about 5 or 6 really strong fire types, and then there's about 4 or 5 electric types that, in my opinion, that will be really viable. I think there's probably more electric types, budget electric types, than there are budget fire types, in my opinion, that are usable, that are viable. Excuse me. Yeah, I think just getting one of the many prevalent water ground types will just take care of those 2. But we'll get into pairings later. What I do want to get into is the resistances, both being Dragon, Fairy, and Steel. So there is your fantasy core of Dragon, Fairy, and Steel, and it resists all 3 of them, right? Also having strong resistances to Flying, Normal, Psychic, very strong resistances, and 4 times resistances to Bug and Grass, which are okay, Grass being pretty prevalent. And then immunities to Ground and Poison, which are very good. It's always good to have a Ground immunity, and a Poison immunity is really good if, say, you have a type of Bulu or a Whimsicott, something like that. And it's a very good Fairy. It's a very good Pokemon to have with a Fairy type because of the Poison and Steel resistances, or 1 immunity and then resistance here. So very good typing, one of the best in the games. There's a reason that it's ranked so highly all the freaking time. And then, okay, so now we got the typing. Okay. great type, great type, awesome type, awesome. But then we get Beast Boost. Okay, this is not Moxie. This is Beast Boost. Okay, this ability is one of the strongest in the game. Okay, I would say that Soul Heart is stronger because you don't necessarily need to physically attack it, or physically attack it or Leech Seed to get a boost. But this ability is great because you're able to sweep so much faster, so much easier, so much. There's less prediction because you're able to just get so much. Or after a Pokemon team has been chipped so much, it doesn't matter if it's a coverage move because you're just killing it. And then once you get one, boom, 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 domino effect. Okay, so this is better than Moxie in that it raises whatever stat that you want it to. So Moxie is only attack, but this could be special attack, this could be special defense, this could be defense, this could be speed. It just whatever is your highest stat that you put that week, then you get a boost in that situation. And now you're saying, well, he's only got 61 speed and his highest stat is 107, so why is special attack not over? But you can get your speed all the way to the point where it's more than your special attack, and you're able to just boost your speed, and just get those boosts as you get killed. You're able to do that. A lot of the times I wouldn't recommend it, but it is there if you need to do it. Let's say you're running like a hyper offensive team and they have just speed on speed on speed. I could see some use maybe in doing that. But for the most part, you're going to either invest in your special attack or physical. And if you're running a bulkier set, then yeah, maybe you're special or defensive. Now let's move on to, now that we're past Beast Boost, let's move on to the stats, which are phenomenal stats. Okay, we have a phenomenal typing in Steel Flying. We have a phenomenal ability in Beast Boost, one of the best. Not necessarily the best, but very, very good stats. So 97 HP, nothing to shy near of. I'm pretty sure it gets over 400 in that statistic, so you cannot get your subs broken by like a Nightshade or something like that. Its attack is really good. Its defense is really good, especially with 97, 103, 101. That is a bulky Pokemon with a great typing. And the ability to boost is 101 and 107 special attack and special attack respectively. Gosh, this is not a fun Pokemon to play against and to prep against because you have no idea what it's going to do. Okay, so what do we have? We have a phenomenal typing, phenomenal ability, phenomenal stats. Let's get into the sets. Let's get into the moves, right? That's what we got next, okay? Now you can see that this is used in so many formats for very good reason. For very, very good reason. It's even in a 1v1 format, okay? So let's move on here. Let's go into a defensive set, which is one of the most common, one of the most annoying things to deal with, okay? So you have the Leech Seed, Protect, Heavy Slam, Flamethrower, okay? So you have great stab and Heavy Slam almost every single time, because this is one of the most heavy Pokemon. A lot of the time it's going to be 120 base power, and to have 120 base power Heavy Slam without any investment into your attack, it's a really strong move. It's a really, really strong move. Not having to deal with different speed tiers with Gyro Ball, it's really, really strong. Okay, and then this is great for beating other fire types, or other fire types, other steel types, or anything that Heavy Slam doesn't hit, which a lot of the time is going to be your steel types, maybe not dragons, just other typings, that Heavy Slam doesn't hit, but a lot of the time you're gonna be clicking Heavy Slam or Leech Seed. And then Protect is there to get more recovery from your Leech Seed and or leftovers, right? And then once you get one kill with this, your special defense is gonna go even higher, so you're gonna be even tankier. Okay, so that's where this can kind of just roll things. Once it gets a special defense boost, it's just rolling with Leech Seed. It's recovering more than it's taking, and it's just going to defeat your team just by, sapping its health little by little. So that's really interesting. And a lot of the clerics are going to be fairy types, and Heavy Slam hits them really, really hard. Um, and then if they're not fairy types, they're going to be grass types usually, and Flamethrower hits those guys. So it's very, very difficult not only to switch into this guy's attacks, even without investment, but also to attack him because of his great stats, because of how tanky he is, or she. So it doesn't have a gender. So let's see if there's another set. Okay, another set that I wanted to talk about was an Autotomize set, and this is where Autotomize lowers your weight. Okay, so Heavy Slam's not as good, but it doubles your speed. Okay, so doubling your speed puts this 61 at 122. Okay, so you have 122 speed, and you have great defenses. So this is a great weakness policy Pokemon. You Autotomize. You take that super effective hit because they're thinking that you're maybe a tank Celesteela, and you just get +2/+2, and you sweep the rest of the team because once you get one more kill, you're 2.5 instead of just +2. The next one, 3. Next one, 3.5. Next one, 4. You're maxed. So it can sweep so quickly, and depending if you're special or physical, or maybe even a mixed set with that weakness policy, you're still going to be OHKOing things with coverage moves, regardless of if you're physical or special based. So it's a very, very strong Pokemon. It can run away with games very, very quickly. So Autotomize is also an interesting one. There's a couple of other sets, but let's get into the moves now, because I think some of the moves will help you see the kind of sets that this guy can run. All right, so great sets, great typing, great ability, great stats. Let's see the moves here. So we have Absorb, never using it. Acrobatics is good for that weakness policy. Autotomize set, that's pretty good. Air Slash is great special if you need to go there. There's Autotomize. Block can be interesting for guaranteeing that boost. So you block Leech Seed on something that's either trying to set up rocks before it switches out or something like that. You can definitely just block it in, and so it can't switch, and then you just wear it down, kill it, and then maybe that's something that another teammate of yours, another Pokemon on your team needed to get through, but couldn't. But now that Celesteela trapped him, killed him, now that whenever that Pokemon comes in safely on your side, then it will sweep the rest of their team. So that could be something interesting with block. Bulldoze is okay, but you do get Earthquake, which is right here. Excuse me, you're never going to use Double Team because it's always banned. Excuse me. Energy's Ball is really good if you want to use Giga Drain, which is down here. Explosion, not using that too much. Facade, I've seen somebody use Facade with a Flame Orb set, but I thought it was really, that's really risky in my opinion. Flame Charge is interesting, but a lot of the time you're just going to use Flamethrower or Fire Blast. Fire Blast is only good for that extra damage, but a lot of the time you're going to use Flamethrower. Flash Gain is pretty good if you want to go special. Z Fly if your league allows physical Z moves, that could be good. Giga Drain here, of course. Grass Knot if they're heavier, but it's almost never going to happen. So you're always going to run either Energy Ball or Giga Drain. Gyro Ball's not that good. Heavy Slam's almost always better. Ingrain's okay, not using it too much. Iron Defense is pretty good. Iron Head is great. Leech Seed is great on defensive ones. Not using Magnet Rise too much. Metal Sound is pretty good. That's going to help you break through things that you wouldn't regularly be able to. It's like a pseudo nasty plot in that when something switches in, you Metal Sound, and now you're able to break through it. And if they want to make that choice to switch out, then something else on their team takes a hit that they otherwise wouldn't have to take, right? So that they can get in without a special defense drop. And by that time, you're already +1 because you've taken out another Pokemon, and then you can kind of outplay from there. It does have an 85% accuracy, but if it does hit, it's really, really strong. You can make Selly into a really strong ball breaker. Return's pretty good if your league allows it. Rock Slide's pretty good. It also gets Stone Edge for a better rock physical move. Gets Seed Bomb for physical grass. Skull Bash is okay. Shockwave, and instead of if your league doesn't allow hidden powers, it also has Shockwave, so that's pretty good. Smackdown's pretty good. Smart Strike's okay. Always going to use Iron Head, almost always. Solar Beam for like maybe a Power Herb set. You can run Power Herb Solar Beam. That could be interesting. Stomping Tantrum's okay. Superpower, it's not great, but it's pretty good. I mean, it's a very, very strong fighting type move, but your attack and defense are lower. So, you know, maybe not the best. Zen Headbutt for your physical psychic type attack, and then Toxic. So, you have some really, really good coverage moves, really strong coverage moves, actually. And you're able to sweep a lot of these things because of your different coverage. You just needed that little bit of super effective damage to then put you over the top and take some kills. The only thing it's really lacking, in my opinion, is like an ice type attack because it's kind of difficult to work through those ground types if you don't have, let's say you don't pack on that grass move, you know, so that could be interesting to play with. But other than that, I mean, really phenomenal moves. Now, we've went through the Gen 7 side of Celly, but what we haven't touched is the Gen 8 side of Celly. Okay, so with the moves that are really starting to ban this Pokemon from Gen 8 leagues, and that's what we're going to get into right now. So Celesteela here gets Self-Destruct, Body Slam, Endure, Mega Horn, Cosmic Power. None of those matter except the last two, which are Mega Horn and Cosmic Power. Mega Horn is a 120 base power bug type attack. Very, very strong, has 85% accuracy. And then Cosmic Power, this is what is banning Celesteela right here. Cosmic Power boosts your defense and your special defense. So after one boost, you're now surviving 100% going to survive whatever the other attack was going to be. Unless that attack was going to do 200%, which is not very much if you EV Celesteela correctly. And this is what is banning. So Leech Seed, Cosmic Power sets, they're disgusting. They can literally 1v6 teams. Literally 1v6. It's very, very difficult to beat a Cosmic Power Celesteela. If it gets a 1 or if it gets 2 boosts, holy moly. If you don't crit this thing, it's going to be really, really tough. Okay, so you're really hoping for like a 5% opportunity. So that's really what's making Celesteela really strong in Gen 8 leagues. So that's just something to think about. So pairings with this Pokemon is you want to have a Dragon and Fairy. I mean, it is literally one of the, if it's not the best Steel type in the game, it is one of the best. I would say that it's the best. That's just my opinion, though. But Celesteela is so strong. It's so good. It can switch into so many different typings. I think what's really good with the Celesteela, if you're able to get Mega Deontay, very, very strong. Taking Rotom Heat is also pretty good because that Rotom Heat is one of these Celesteela, counters. So I think Rotom Heat's very good to take. I think any kind of fairy, any kind of dragon, very strong. Dragon's really good because it resists both fire and electric types, which that's the only thing that Celesteela is weak to is fire and electric. Okay, so you get a strong dragon, and then you get a strong fairy to help take out the other dragons that Celesteela can not really work through too well. Then you're gonna have a really strong core. And a lot of the times you want to get a Steel Dragon Fairy pretty much really quickly because of how strong that typing is together. But Dragon, I would say get Dragon first, and then a strong Fairy. It just depends. If Mega Deontay is available, I would take Mega Deontay before a Dragon type. But of course, the Zygarde 50 is a really good guy to take. Another Dragon Ground, maybe Garchomp. I wouldn't say Mega Garchomp too much, but he's still there, which he's immune to electric. He's immune to electric and then resists fire. So that's why I'm saying that those are really strong guys to get. Another one would be maybe Mega Charizard X is really good too. Oh yeah, Mega Charizard X is really good with that four times resistance to fire. So that's just something to think about. Those are a couple of guys that you could, excuse me, to pair well with Celesteela. And those guys also help break through each other's checks. So that's why I think it's important. But I think that's everything for Celesteela. And so I'll see you next time. And that's Sick Bid, aka Meek, with another Draft League. And we'll see you tomorrow.